Hello, my name is Linnea Medler, and this is my presentation for my web development class. My presentation will be about the program TypeScript. Now, TypeScript is a programming language that checks JavaScript for errors and lowers the chances of bugs when used. It makes programming JavaScript much easier. One way it does this is through static type checking. Now, JavaScript usually uses a dynamic type system where it has to run the code to see what happens. With this, you won't know what's wrong with it until you run the program. With a static type system, TypeScript is able to predict what the code will do and find errors during the building phase of your program. In this example, the user is trying to display the message, "Hello." TypeScript reads the code, interprets what it will do, and finds the error. In this case, the function message cannot run because nothing is assigned to it. You usually would have had to run the program to find out, but thanks to TypeScript, you don't have to. Some other errors TypeScript finds are typos and logic errors. In the first example here, you can see that in the second section, TypeScript finds the typo to this right here and brings attention to it. So that way you can fix it, like in this example right here. In the second example, TypeScript tells the programmer that this statement makes no sense. It will return false, like no matter what value is given. It allows for the error to be fixed then instead of later. TypeScript is also able to find unidentified values and incomplete functions. Usually unidentified values are okay in JavaScript, but if you're trying to do something specific, like display a message or something, it wouldn't be good for you to have undefined values. So the TypeScript will find these undefined values and allow you to put value on them. So in here, the property location doesn't have anything assigned to it, so it would just display undefined when you run the program. TypeScript also just finds bad coding. So it's like the typo error, but it's for JavaScript specific language. So in this example here, the equal sign is replaced by the less than sign. So then the TypeScript would find it, tell the programmer, and allow them to fix it. TypeScript not only finds errors, but also prevents them. While you're writing your code, TypeScript can suggest properties that you can use inside, allowing you to access any values that you might have missed or forgotten. In the example, TypeScript is suggesting different values here that can be placed in the function. So like all these values were probably expressed earlier in the code. So then TypeScript would basically be like, hey, you have these that you can select from, use them. TypeScript also has its own language. It's a program in and of itself. It's not just an extension of JavaScript. You can set types inside values and ensure that inside variables and ensure that the values are a certain kind of information, like a string, a date, or a number or something. For example, in the function greet here, the values are set to a string and a date. And in order for it to work, both of the values have to be a string and a date. Here, there's an error because the date here, it's not a date, it's a string. This lessens the amount of possible errors that can, or like confusion that can, if you want to display a specific message or information or something. Usually JavaScript implies what the type of information you're inputting in, but with TypeScript you can assign them. You use the interface declaration here to apply it to a value, and then you can use said value to like another variable or something. So in the example here, user is assigned to hold the string and a number to the value's name and ID. And then it is then applied to this variable here, and in the different sub-variables with the name and the ID, you have a string and a number. Any other type of information inputted in and you would have gotten errors, and the program wouldn't have worked at all. In conclusion, TypeScript is there to enhance JavaScript and make coding much easier. It finds errors, typos, just wrong coding and points it out to you. It helps you to organize your information better. It just helps you get your job done much, much faster. All this information can be found at www.typescriptlang.org. This link will be in the description if you want to go, and I highly suggest going there and reading over the basics. It sounds very complicated, but it's not that complicated once you know what you're doing. Once you know JavaScript, TypeScript isn't that different. Thank you for watching my presentation. Hope this makes sense.